Suppose you want to know who it is that's teaching them. So I'll give you just a brief history background on me. I retired from Schoolcraft College here over 20 years now teaching computer classes and have taught at a number of colleges, Marygrove and Henry Ford and some others. And I just love to teach. I'm up to 40 cities, I think, here in the last 20 years, and more recently another 35 by Zoom. So I just like to get around, and hopefully this class will be of, as Mercedes said, some help to you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, so give me a moment. And I think you can see my presentation here now. And certainly if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself or put that in the chat. Okay, so many years ago, I was teaching at Henry Ford Village in Dearborn. And at the time, I think they had over 800 or more. We have more than 800 residents there at that beautiful campus. And I would teach computer classes there. And I was there for about 12 years. And over that time, I started to realize that seniors were being taken by a lot of computer scams and phone scams. And so I asked the administrators if they would allow me to have a class, and they said, yeah, that would be great. And so this is the birth of that class. And let's see, let's admit, got a few more we're going to admit here. And so the title of this class is, should I click on that? The class on safety, security, and knowing what and what not to do on your computer. It would be nice if you could unmute because I'm a bit interactive and would love to hear from you. I'm going to do a little project here. And looking at this, we'll start off with emails. And I just want to know what you think, if you think it's the real email or the fake email, just based on some of the emails that I got. I saved some of them. And so normally emails come in, just a moment, please. Let's do this. Okay. So normally emails come in right about here, and they extend over like this, you know, the first email, and then the second one in the directory comes under that, and the third, and so on. I created my emails, the format, my emails are over here on the left. And when I click on something on the left, it highlights in blue. And you can see here that this in blue is the email here to the right. Okay, so that's the way my emails are set up. So looking at this email from AT&T, what do you think? Do you think this email is legit, or do you think it's a fake email here?
Maybe it's because I'm paranoid, but I think it's fake because there's no like phone number to call or anything. And if it just says click here, I don't know. I personally tend to not. But
Yes. Well, that can be a giveaway too. If that's one of the flags you want to watch out for, if it doesn't have a name, your name, then you want to, you know, you want to be concerned about that, because AT&T, if they're sending you an email, they're supposed to know your name. And one of the other signs is you always want to check and see who the email is coming from. And if you notice up here in the address area who this is from, it does says online communication, att.net. And companies, many companies, when they send an email, if it's a legit email, they might have the words here. They may have the words here, no reply. And that just means we're sending you an email, but we don't want you to respond to that email. Does anybody see anything wrong with the rectangle I just outlined there? The second one. So
It's spelled wrong.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
John.
The reply, I think they were saying is spelled wrong. The
Yes, okay.
reply.
Yeah, I barely heard John. Okay, yes, it's spelled wrong. Instead of it reading no reply, it's something like Norpelli. So that right there is another big red flag. And then who it's addressed to. I don't know what this is, but this should have my email address or maybe no address up there at all. But so we can start to see something is definitely wrong with this email. And then what many of these scammers are trying to do is to get you, and Mercedes mentioned this, they're trying to get you to click on what's called a link. Now, you clicked on a link in your email to get to us, to this class. It was a long link, and that was certainly legitimate because you're here. But scammers also have links, and they're trying to get you to do something. And in this case, they want you to, click on this link. And that can do anything from shutting down your computer to your printer, and do some malicious things to your computer. On a little bit milder end, they might just route you to a website. And we certainly don't, if we suspect that it's a scam, we don't want to put in any information into that website, as you'll see here in just a minute. So these are just some of the signs. Another big red flag is typos or typographical errors or sentence structure errors. So this right here is a fake email. We'll move on to a few others here. Okay, this is another email. The heading here is warning, and it's from Yahoo. And Yahoo, if you're not familiar with, is an email provider. And what do you think about this one? If anybody cares to respond, and if not, I'll just continue. But does anybody see if there is anything wrong with this one? Oh, well, again, one of the big red flags is we always want to check is who it's coming from. And although this reads Yahoo, that really means nothing. But what's important is after the @ you can see this is actually coming from someone, DanielsTireService.com. This can read anything, so we don't want to be fooled by the first half of this, but after the @ again, Daniel's Tire Service. So this is not coming from Yahoo. But so many people have been taken by things like this because they don't realize to look, first of all, at who it's coming from. And then some other obvious things that I see. I would ask the question, when is the last time that you found a typo in something that came in the mail, correspondence or something, or maybe from your bank? You don't normally see typos and sentence problems in work because these large companies, they do have proofreaders, like your Citizens Bank or your Chase, or doesn't necessarily have to be a bank, but larger companies. And so when you look at this text, can anybody make out some things, some errors in the text? If not, I will note them. Well, one of them is you have a space here between, let's see, you've got a space here after the T and just before the comma. And then there's no space after expired. And then we have a lowercase c here and click to renew, no period, regards, should have a comma. And then you've got the word customers service here. And it has no period after that. So, you know, in one email, we've got about 6 or 7 different errors in here. So this is definitely coming from some scammer. If it was coming from Yahoo, you would not have one error in this, or it would be very rare. All right, so now this one here is coming from Chase. This is Chase logo. And again, I'm looking at who it's coming from, and FCA might be an affiliate with Chase, but I'm just not sure. And this long number like that, that means someone's email. I don't know about that one. So that sets off a red flag. And then when I look at this, one of the errors I see is the word debit and credit. This doesn't need to be a capital D. I don't think they would have a capital D. There's a space just before the C, right after the dash, the slash there, and then we have a capital word card, no period after account. So all of these are the type of things that you want to look for. And what they're trying to get you to do is to click on the link, which is secure account. And many of these scammers, it's called scareware. What they're attempting to do is scare you into doing something quickly. Saying things like your account is about to expire in 24 hours, you know, or 48 hours, or let's see what they're saying. See, they're saying words like to protect your account, and then they have a capital C here after comma. But they want you to secure your account below, and they want you to click on the link. Now, again, this link could cause some malicious things to happen, or it might take you to a fake website asking you to put in personal information. And when you do, the scammers now have, you know, your credit, debit card information. Okay, and then here's another one, which reads, I'm giving away a Sony camera to someone who likes camera. Now, this is from someone personal. It asks a question, and I see errors in it. Would you like to have it, or refer someone who wants to go into photography? I'm taking a new profession and won't need it. Well, I would strongly suggest that you not respond to this at all, because chances are very good this is some scammer saying that they're going to give away a camera, but in reality, what they're doing is trying to get information, some type of information, and maybe eventually some money from you, in, you know, in the end. I know of a lady who answered an ad from, I think it was Schoolcraft College, one of their community boards. I think it was for for yard work, and so she answered that ad to have someone come and do some yard work for her. And I guess over the months, she got in contact with me, and I went over to help her with her computer, and she was very sad. And actually, she was crying at one point, and I asked her, was she okay? And she said, well, she said, my friends are trying to take my house from me. And as we got to talking, she told me that she answered an ad, and what had happened is these people wormed their way into her life, and they were taking money from her, asking for money, to borrow money from her. And it had gotten so bad, at some point they were trying to take her home from her. And I told her, I said, these people are not your friend. And she said, yes, they are, but she couldn't quite see it. So these are type of things that are going on. And I want you to be savvy and be aware of these type of things. This Amazon, I wish I had time, but I think it was through Amazon or some outlet where a couple was taken $600,000. Now I have that video. It's on YouTube. And others I recall 100,000, and these type of large amounts of money. But this was these emails were the gateway to those things. they initially responded to an email and started talking with the people, and they befriended them, and and these are maybe lonely older adults, and things started to happen. And then as time went on, they would ask, "Can I borrow some money from you?" And so this is the way these type of things happen. And maybe I'll get a chance to do it's like a couple minutes video to show you the one that I have talking about how this couple was taken out of all that money. But here's the original Amazon logo. It means nothing because scammers can copy and paste that information. But again, you'll notice Dayton, Ohio has no space, a comma, and then a capital I and if. So all of these type of things you want to look for when you're suspicious of an email. Now, I would ask, just looking at this directory of emails, let's just say you got these emails yesterday, and you're looking through your emails, and I would ask the question, which one of these emails would you respond to? And certainly you don't have to respond now, but if you were to get these lists of emails, as I look through them, I can pretty much tell which ones are just phishing is the word if you're not familiar with the term. Just like FISHING, a fisherman or fisher lady, they go fishing. And I'm not too good at fishing, but I love to fish and go with my nephew and my son. And from time to time, people will come by and say, what are you fishing for? And I tell them anything that I can catch. And that's the way it is with these scammers. The term is phishing, but it's PHISHING instead of FISHING. And what they're doing is they're sending out, no doubt, certain emails to thousands of people, hoping that they're going to, have a good percentage of people who respond to these emails. And so I know from experience, a lot of these AT&T, and I'm with AT&T, but a lot of these are scams, like this one here, this AT&T service. A lot of these I don't even open up anymore, but they're consistent. They're hoping that at some point you're going to read one of these headings and then, respond to those. And just about all of these are considered scams right here. All right, and so I think I'm going to do one more email and then we'll move on. Not this one, but I want you to, this one right here. The United States Postal Service, this is their logo. And so they're saying that a package is waiting for delivery. Now that's going to pique our interest when we see something like this in the email, at least mine, it did. And then it says important message, and in order to complete the delivery of your package, let's see, please confirm the payment. Now I'm looking at errors in here first of all, and United States Postal Service, they're not going to necessarily send you something like this in the mail. It'll be by letter first, but they're asking you to confirm it, and then they want you to click on the link here to confirm your package. Now, this is where this will take you, right here. This will take you to a website that's posing as the United States Postal Service's website. And they want you to put in your details, your first name, your last name, your credit card information. And when you do, by the way, look at the amount here. And I mean, they don't care at all. They just, they have a comma in there and the dollar sign is to the right of the amount. But people will respond to this because they feel they have a package. And when they put in all that information, guess what? The scammers now have that information, and your bank might call you a week later asking that you buy, furniture somewhere in Wisconsin. It's just a large amount that was taken out. All right, so I'm going to move on, but before I do, I want to ask, are there any other questions on email and scamming and links? Um, and so if there are, you can go ahead and unmute yourself at this time. Ask. All right. If not,
Is there an issue? When does the issue happen? When you first click on it from your headings of all your emails, or do you have to open something in the email?
it's okay to open your email and read it, but the moment you click on a link, you've executed something, which again could be it can be anything malicious. So that's where we want to be careful clicking on those links.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. So let's move on now to your antivirus software program, something altogether different. This could be rhetorical, but I'm just asking, do you know what the name of your antivirus software program is? And if not, I would say try to find out what that is. And Nancy says yes. Nancy, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat here, but I see some responses and I'll try to remember to look at that chat. But Nancy says she does know the name of hers. Well, you know, some of the more popular ones are Norton or McAfee or Mahaffey, however they pronounce that. And then you've got ESET. And I think here at John Art 14 Mile, I think they're pushing their ESET product. And Best Buy pushes another one. I forget the name of that one. But you want to have an antivirus software program on your computer because that's your first line of defense. It keeps a lot of bad things from happening, coming to your computer. And again, it's good to know what it is. And occasionally you want to go into your antivirus program and check to make sure that that is still active and that you are protected. Many of them, oh yes, thank you, John. Best Buy is Webroot, that's right. Yes. And you want to make sure, I occasionally go in there and see if it's active. And you can see this one is saying that you're protected. But if you have this is one that I had some time back, which was free, called Avast. This is just a screenshot of that, but being free, there was no automated way of updating it. So I'd have to go in and manually update. And so even the ones that are automatic or say they're automatic, I would still go in. If you're paying for them, I would still go in occasionally and look at your interface and see. Because what can happen, this is the same program here, and you can see now things are in red and it's telling me that I'm unprotected or not protected. And if you are, many times it's just a matter of clicking on, as you can see here, the words resolve all. And then that would bring that back to this look. All right, so this is your antivirus software program, and find out which one that you have on your system. Let's see. Okay, and John says Avast has gotten really noisy and aggressive on upsell of products. You know, most of these are sort of like that now. You know, like I have certain malware programs that I use, and down in the lower right, they will send kind of banner ads saying, you know, get this greater one, or this one's better for, you know, a few dollars more a month or something. So yes, you're right. And many of these are, they are sort of they can be aggressive. And if you're not used to that, people are kind of in a panic with that. And I just sort of click off of them and going about my business. Okay, so in the lower left corner, I have the words antivirus programs are not 100% effective. So even though you have a good antivirus software program on your computer, if you notice in the upper left, some of the problems with that is operator errors. So if you manually click on something, you can override your antivirus software program. And as the bullet 2 there, malicious links, and we've been talking about those in your email. If you click on a malicious link, your antivirus software program, you just overrode that program. All right. And now let's talk about backing up your computer. And if I had you all off mute, I would ask, does anybody back up your computer? And you can certainly put it in the chat as well. I'm looking at that chat here now. And if you don't back up your, okay, and yes, all right, I think that might be Mercedes. She says, I do. And if you don't back up your computer in some way, I suggest that you do. If you have, yes, John says he does as well. Okay, and Nancy says she saves hers on a separate drive. Nancy, what drive are you using? Do you use like a flash drive or what's called an external drive, a little separate unit apart from your computer, which I have one here. This is, those who might don't know, but this is what's called an external drive here. And I think I paid about $50, $75 for it. And it has a cable that I plug in. And if you're familiar with the flash drive, it works exactly the way that a flash drive does. Okay, and Nancy says she has an external drive. Great. Yeah, some way or some form of backing up your computer is necessary, especially if you have pictures and valuable documents, because computers are not 100% reliable. I actually have had one, maybe two. It seems like to me over the years, I had a second laptop that went out on me. I just started it up one day. The screen was blank, and you can't always recover your work. You can take it into a computer store, and maybe they can. And if they can, it's a specialized service that it really costs money to do that. So have some form of backup. I have just showed you my external drive. I also have a flash drive here. If you're not familiar with what they are, this one costs about $10 at Walmart, and you just plug it into your computer, and you can make copies of that. Also, you have what's called the cloud. I don't know if anybody backs up your work to the cloud. It does have its advantages, but I'm not too fond of the cloud personally, because I don't like really sending my personal work to some computer somewhere in the world. You know, and that's just me. The horse is out the gate though, and many people do save their work to the cloud. And I do have work that I save to the cloud as well. All right, so have some form of backup. And let's see, I'm looking at my time. I think if I had, maybe if I have time at the end, if you're not familiar with it, I'll show how to back up your work. It's pretty easy to do. Okay, so moving right along here. How about our passwords? Your password is what I'm.
There's a question in the chat that you
Okay.
about OneDrive and so on.
Okay, Reese, can you explain the Google Drive and OneDrive are not backups but storage? Well, I would say definitely you're storing something there on that cloud, whether OneDrive or the Google Drive. And I would say it's a backup as well. And the reason why I say that is because when you, one moment, please, one moment. Okay. Let me get out of this quickly. So for instance, here, if I click here on virtual classes here, and this is some work that I have some folders and some files, And this is my OneDrive right here. Let's bring it up just a little bit. And one of the things that I can do, let's say I want to take this file and put it on my OneDrive. Now I can hold down and drag this. I'm holding down my control key as I'm dragging this right onto my OneDrive like this. And if I were to let go, I'm not going to do that because I really don't want it on there. But if I let go on this, notice the word copy to OneDrive just to the right of the black arrow there. What that would do is I'm just making a copy of that. So I'm backing that up. And I'll have one on my OneDrive cloud service, and I'll actually have, you know, the one on my computer. Now, if I just held down and dragged it on there, it would send it there. But again, one of the tricks is if you hold down on it on your control key in your lower left corner on your keyboard and drag it over, let go of the mouse first and then the control key, you'll send a copy over there. If you're sending things to your external drive or your flash drive, I mean, I could select many things here. I'm hovering my mouse over here to the left, and I'm just holding the mouse button down and just dragging down and to the right. And let's say I want to send these 5 or 6 different folders or documents or whatever to my flash drive or my external drive. At this point, what I can do is right-click with my mouse and go down to the word send to. And then I don't have a flash drive or external drive connected, but if I did, it would be at the bottom, and I would just simply left click on it, and then this information would be sent over to that type of drive. So whether it's a cloud service or you're doing this manually on your computer, they are considered backups as well. Okay. All right. So let's go now to here, and let's talk a little bit about your passwords. Okay, so one of the things we really don't want to do is to have a password with, let's say, our son's name spelled backward and then the date, his birthday added to that. Those are not good types of passwords because a lot of our relatives and things, that's public information. You can go online and maybe get a person's name and then their immediate family members. And so scammers can have that information or somehow got information from you about your family or your address. So we don't want to really use our address, words or numbers in our address and things spelled backward because those can be easy passwords to crack or to break. So what I would suggest you do with passwords, and I have actually have some people believe in password managers. Again, things that you send online. I'm not discouraging anyone else, but I personally don't like the fact that I'm sending my personal information to others, some service or something. So, but what I do, now I know this has a disadvantage as well, but I have what's called internet password book here, and it looks like an old address book right here. It has the A through Z tabs here, and I have so many passwords in here because I've taught at a lot of schools and a lot of things. But I probably have no fewer than, as I flip through these pages, I would probably say 50 different passwords, all the way from A through. Let's see if I got anything for Z. I know I have X for Xfinity, but I don't. Oh yeah, I've got Z for Zoom. So I have a lot here. Now, this works for me, but as you probably may be thinking, it does have its disadvantages because if a fire happens or somebody breaks in, this is sort of hidden at my house. You know, my wife and I are the only two here, and she doesn't fool with my password book, at least that I know of. But I can conveniently, you know, so if I want to sign up for a newsletter with Betty Crocker, where I go to the B's, I put in Betty Crocker, and where it reads password, here's what I do. for all of my passwords. And I would suggest not try to really commit it to memory. If you really want a hard password to crack or to break, I look at my keyboard. And so I write it down first. I look at my keyboard and say, okay, for my Betty Crocker newsletter, and let's do lowercase I, and then a number 7. So I'm writing all this down first. Capital P, $, number sign. And as you add those symbols, they're much harder to crack as well. So throw 2 or 3 of those in there and have at least 8 characters. So this is how I do my passwords. And of course, I can't remember those, but I do have them written down. Okay, give me just a moment, please. Sorry about that. I didn't realize that my battery power was going down. Okay. Okay, bear with me here. Give one moment. I walked away and some things went haywire on my end here for some reason. All right. Okay, so that's my suggestion for passwords. And you definitely, I would suggest also having different passwords for different organizations that you're with, or whoever you're signing up with, or wherever you need a password. Whenever you need a password, I suggest that you not have the same password for every service. And here's the reason why. If you notice the first bullet there, we're talking about hackers and password guessing, software guessing. So notice here, the first bullet is example David Smith, or D Smith 1234, Smith 1950 Dave, etc. Those are the type of things that you don't want. Because second bullet, they don't sit down and say, well, I wonder if the password is their daughter's password and their birthday. No, they have software that scans thousands of password combinations in minutes. And so third bullet, dictionary attack can scan through common words and commonly used passwords. They have something called brute force attack, which is using combinations of letters, digits, and symbols. And again, the second from the last bullet scans thousands of these combinations a minute. And it's telling us that simple passwords can be cracked in minutes. And then finally, here's what they suggest: 10 characters with numbers and upper and lowercase letters and symbols added would take 6 or 7 months to crack, and no scammer wants to do that. Okay, John writes, we have an elderly mother-in-law and have trained her to use Password Manager. Yes, we have a copy of the long master password in her safe with her will, which will help the event in the event of her passing. Seems like a good idea. Okay. So that's some do use the Password Manager. One of the things I wouldn't suggest we do is don't put your passwords on your computer. It might seem like a good idea. I'm going to open up Microsoft Word and I'm going to put a heading here at the top, passwords, and then I'm going to put in, my Betty Crocker newsletter, and then to the right of that, I'm going to put in the password, and then I'll put in the next thing in the password, the next. Well, it's so easy for someone who can have control of your computer to just go down in the lower left corner where the search box is and type in the word password. And in seconds, it would bring up that file because the word password is in that file. And then, they have all of your passwords there. So I do this. I know it's a bit old fashioned, but I do it the old fashioned way, this way. Um, and just one suggestion that I give you. All right, so moving right along, we're at good time. When it comes to email accounts, I don't know how many emails you have. I have about 4 different email accounts. With AT&T, I have a master email account, and then there are sub emails that you can add. And no doubt with your provider, you should be able to do that as well if you wanted more than one email account. Now, if you don't have that feature, well, Google has a free email. It's called Gmail. And you could go to gmail.com and create an email account. And one of the things the reason why I say think about having 2 email accounts is because if you're getting flooded with unsolicited emails and you've got to every day go through 100 emails to delete, you could do better things. We could do better things with our life than those type of things, or be bothered with all that. I have, like I said, about 4 different emails, and my main email I don't get a lot of spam, unsolicited mail, because I keep that just with family and friends. And I don't give that out to any service or when I'm in a restaurant, to win some free, dinner. I don't give that email out. And that's why my email is pretty clean. And then I have another email for business. So if someone wanted that, I would give that to them. And then I have more of a junk email. So if I am in a restaurant and I want to, give that out, or if I'm in a store and they need my email, which is becoming pretty popular, I will give them that email. So if there's junk, a lot of my junk email will be sent there. Okay. And you can see that 3rd bullet if you are interested in creating another email account, totally separate from the one you have. One of the places you can go is gmail.com. And you can then maybe treat that as your main email. And those personal friends that you have, people and relatives, you can say, okay, I have a new email. Here it is. Start emailing me at this email, because that other email has so much junk in it. I want to start new and let that primary email now be your secondary email. Okay. All right. All right, let's talk about secure and unsecured networks. And I have as the first bullet up there, home networks are secure and have been set up with a password. And what I mean by networks is the box that you have, no doubt, at your home, if you're not familiar with it, with the lights, the red, the green lights, or maybe the white lights, or the blinking lights from time to time. And so that is your internet service and being secure. But if you are in places like a restaurant and you decide you want to check your email, or maybe even some libraries, hotels maybe, or motels, some of the public places, coffee houses, many of those are unsecured networks, which means that you don't really want to go on their Wi-Fi. Now, if you're connected to their computers, that's a little bit different. But if you bring in a laptop into places like these, and you want to hop on, their network, I would suggest not to do any, real personal work. A lot of people go in and they check the emails and things, but I wouldn't be doing my banking and things like that on an unsecured network, because it is possible that sometimes you have people in that environment who are trying to get information from you. All right. So let's see. Okay. Let's talk a bit about when you're typing information into your browser or you're going to a website is what I mean. And notice here, I have two different websites. One is Citizen Bank and the other one is Citizens Bank. And so I'm going to get out of this little presentation. I'm going to actually go now here to right in this address area here. I'm going to type in citizenbank.com. Now that's without the S. And when I go to that website, you can see it does read Citizens Bank, but typing in citizen without the S, this is where it takes me. And this is not some scammer's website. It's more of a local bank. I think this bank is out of Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken. 262 area code here. All right. And so people do their banking here at this more local bank. But if I went in here and typed in citizensbank.com, I'm at another bank, which we're all here in Michigan, and no doubt you're familiar with Citizens Bank here. And people who bank with citizens can go and log in and check their accounts, how much money they have, what their activity. So my point is, though, when you are going to certain websites, I would just, double check that you have typed in the correct information before going there, because it might take you to a site. Not saying that it's a scammer site, but it's not the one that you really want. These two here at the bottom, Snopes.com, this is more of a fact-checking website that has really been approved over the years. And I think a great website. So if something is happening in the news and they said this person did this, chances are good it's going to be on Snopes' website, and you can go to that website and fact check and say, look and see, is this legitimate? Was this actually said by this person? And you can find that information there. So that's Snopes, and this is what Snopes looks like right here. And you can do fact checks. You can search for things in the news, some of the latest things that's going on. They do have articles here, below. So it's just a neat website to go to. So that's Snopes, SNOPES.com, or www.snopes.com. But if I were to go to this one, Snoops, let's say I accidentally put in another O. Well, so here's the legitimate website, but under that it says here is a scammer's website with the second O in there. And this is what you will get, or what I got. So you're thinking you're going to maybe Snopes, and you put in an extra O, and this is what may come up. And it may even have a recording or a voice saying that you have some issue with your computer. And then it asks you to call this number, which we're not calling any numbers. I have such a passion for this. I don't want people online when something pops up telling you to call something, because 95% of the time it's a scam. And even though this reads Microsoft support, this is a scammer's website. And when you call that number, the process is to tell you that, you have issues with your computer and we need to fix it. They'll talk to you a little bit, want to take control of your computer with your permission. People give that permission. And then after the session, well, we found this, and this is going to cost you $150 to fix, and we can do it here on our end. And I suspect, because I've had people tell me this, many times they say, well, it's going to take us a while to fix this. It's 6 p.m. and it's going to take us overnight to do this. And while you sleep, I suspect they still have permission and they're able to get into your computer and check and see if they can find your social security number or whatever information that they deem is necessary for them to take something from you. And that's why I have such a passion for this again, is because I've seen so many seniors taken by this. And so I teach these classes to make them aware. We do not call a number on that pops up on the screen telling us that we have some issues with our computers. Okay, all right. And even if someone calls you on the phone in the evening, let's say, or early in the morning, doesn't matter what time, and says, we're from Microsoft and we see that you have some issues with your computer, the thing you want to do is say, I'm very polite. I was just teaching this class not too long ago, and there was a lady, she used some choice words. She says, when they call me, this is what I tell them. But I tell them, I get out of this very quick. You don't have to have a conversation with them because they're good at what they do. And I just, while I'm on the phone or something, I'll say, I'm not interested. Those are my words always. And they, no doubt, are going to keep continuing. And my next words are, as they're talking, I'm not interested, thank you, and I hang up the phone. My blood pressure doesn't go up. I don't have any issues at all. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm not, cursing at them, telling them I know who you are, anything. I just say, oh, I'm not interested. No, I'm not interested, thank you. And that ends that conversation. All right, so, and then these are some things that, can possibly pop up on your screen from time to time. And actually, to be honest with you, this right here, even though it looks like, something is wrong with your computer, and you might even have a meter going across saying, oh, you have 5 viruses right now, and now you have 3, malware problems, and you're getting more and more and more. Hurry up and call this number. That's called scareware. It's meant to scare you into doing something, making a call or something similar. But actually what it is as you were going online, this is many times what happened without your knowledge. You clicked on something, it took you to a scammer's website this is actually what this is just an ad. This right here is an ad. That's all it is. Give me a moment, please. Okay. One moment. Okay, I'm back here. Let's do this. Okay, so this right here is just an ad. That's all it is on a website. The same as if you got an ad when you go to, the Free Press, and the Free Press ad pops up saying, you can get this special deal with us to get your newspapers or something. It was just an ad. And that's what this is. And but it's so scary. It seems like it just came out of nowhere. But actually, you either went to their website or you clicked on something that took you to a website. All right. And okay. I got this with such a scare one time many years ago when these things first came out. I'm on my computer and a recording came on with this official voice. It was very similar to this. This is the FBI, I forget, FBI or whoever, I don't know, but some official, law enforcement. And I don't know if you can do the reading here, but one of the things I remember them saying is, you have been watching pornography. I had not been watching pornography. And then they mentioned child pornography. Well, people can do what they want to do. They can watch pornography, I suppose, if they want to. But when you talk about child pornography, that's a different animal there. And I do recall them saying it, and it scared me. I mean, I was really scared because I know I didn't do these things, but you're telling me I've got it on my computer, and it was so scary. and as this voice came through the speakers, recording, of course, they said, well, we're going to get you, you're going to be arrested or whatever. And then they said something similar to this, but you can pay a fine. Now I'm thinking, and here, this one says you have 72 hours to pay. Okay, this is the FBI, but if you pay this $200, but by the way, you can pay it at CVS or 7-Eleven. And that's the way, very similar again, the way mine came up. And when I thought about it, I went from fear to laughter. You mean you're coming to get me, but if I hurry up and run down to 7-Eleven and get you a gift card and send it, you're going to be okay. So we think about these are all scammers. The last thing I think I want to do is I look at my time. I had some other things I want to share, but let's see if I can get to this one I mentioned at the beginning. And you could go on YouTube to check these out as well. I have 2 of them here. Let's just quickly, I won't go through all of this, but I'm going to click on this. It says elderly couple loses 700,000 online scam. Let's see if I can go there. This is from YouTube.
Tropical Smoothie Cafe newbie.
It's playing an ad right now for about 15 seconds, but let's wait till that passes.
Tropical. Acai, mangoes, berries. That's 5-star luxury by the swimming pool. You're on.
I'll spend about 2 minutes on this. I'm looking at my time.
A fake Amazon purchase and bank wire transfers. That's how a local family said scammers were able to steal more than $500,000.
Can you hear that clearly?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay.
From them. Team 10 investigator Melissa Masiha and photojournalist Ray Higgins show us why the couple feels financial institutions should take more responsibility to avoid this from happening to others.
William and Ave Bortz have been married for more than 55 years.
I'm looking forward to the next 55.
They're retired and hope to live out their golden years on money they saved and money from a recent home sale. But golden no more because of scammers.
I was not proud to believe that people will lie with that level of bad faith.
It started last year in January. They said they got this email from what they thought was Amazon, that they purchased about $1,500 worth of products being sent to another address. They called the number on the email to fix the issue.
I took over the phone call.
The person on the other end convinced William to allow access to their computer, something their daughter, also named Ave, explained didn't seem unusual to her parents.
Because my husband had always fixed it from San Diego to LA, so he was used to seeing his computer remote accessed.
She detailed how the scam worked once she said they got control of the computer.
The fake Amazon website that said, you have spent $2,000 to ship this product. Mm-hmm. Enter in the money, enter in $2,000 so we know what money to credit you back with. And all of a sudden, there was $200,000 my parents had sent to Amazon.
Keep in mind, the site, again, wasn't real.
The hacker said was, in order for you to get this money back, we need to synchronize the refund server with Amazon. To do that, you need to wire transfer that amount to the Amazon refund recovery.
Well, I think you get the idea here. These are the type of things that are happening, I would assume, on a daily basis. And with that, I hope that you have gained some knowledge, understanding about being more computer savvy. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I've enjoyed it to the fullest, and we'll turn this back over to you, to Mercedes at this time.
Mike, we really appreciate it. I learned a lot too, actually, because we have here at the library, we have people contact our tech lady sometimes who, they've gotten a hold of these people's computers, and thankfully she's been able to help them. So there hasn't been like a huge problem, but it's really scary.
Well, Mercedes, sometimes people, I found in classes, they have lost things, but they don't want to share. Some will. Some will say, I lost $150 from these scammers, but I won't do it again. And others just are in the background, and sometimes it happens to them and they just won't share.
Right. Yes. If anybody has any questions before we wrap it up, then you can unmute yourself or put it in the chat. If there are no questions though, then thank you so much for coming. We were allowed to record the presentation, so I will send it to those of you who have been here tonight. So if you want to rewatch it, you can. I haven't figured out 100% how I'm going to do it because last time I was having troubles with YouTube, but you'll know when I get it figured out. So.
And thank you, Rebecca and Lori, for your comments.